stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good Monday morning. Chilly this morning in the 30s. Well, I guess it's supposed to be that way when it's the middle of November, 11/14/22. No Ja, no Bain, no win. Of course, no defense against threes either. We'll get into that. Tigers hoops tomorrow. They'll be leaving mid-afternoon on to St. Louis for the Billikens tomorrow in a game that they are the underdogs in. You know, you win that, and then a week from yesterday, next Sunday, 3-0, beating Vandy, St. Louis on the road. Both those would be road wins, and VCU at home. Would you creep into the top 25? I mean, you were getting a vote or two. You were really, with also receiving votes, 40th in the country. Would that be enough? Of course, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. New college football poll is out. We'll talk about that in a second. Jason Munns will join us at about 10:45 to talk about the Tigers and the recruiting because they got another one. And then right after we give out medals, we will hear from our friend John Thompson, our coach down in Atlanta, about the SEC. And a lot of great games, that's for sure. College basketball, by the way, is crazy too. How about Louisville losing to Wright State? Temple beats Villanova after they lost to Wagner. Tennessee yesterday loses to Colorado. Oregon has already lost to UC Irvine. It's already nuts. What a year this is going to be. Can't wait tomorrow to talk to Mike DeCourcy about all of that. There is some just really terrible news this morning. It's tragic. It comes, of all places, from the University of Virginia at Charlottesville. It's just a beautiful, tranquil place, but not this morning. 3 people are dead in a shooting that involved a former football player. At this point, there is no motive that we understand. One of the people that was killed has a Memphis connection. A former Arlington High School student who was an outstanding player is named Devon Chandler. He signed with Wisconsin, later transferred to UVA, obviously a very bright young man. So he left Arlington after his junior year, relocated closer to family in North Carolina, was all district and all region while he was at Arlington. Just a great young man, people say. And, you know, so many of the times people will read this story because it is major news this morning. And you don't really see the faces, right? You just hear the news, you go, another crazy, stupid, senseless thing in this world. There is a tie here. If you knew Devin Carter, or Devin Chandler, I'm so sorry. If you knew Devin Chandler, I know this really hits home with you this morning. Thoughts and prayers to the family and to all of the friends that knew him while he was at Arlington. In the meantime, I don't know what you can really say, J-Mo. You don't have Bain and Ja. Of course, Triple J, who, by the way, did take shots in the pregame warm-up. So he's probably going to be back in the next week or so. You know, what kind of a chance have you got against a Washington team, by the way, is pretty good. So Washington's won 4 in a row. They're now 8-6. And guess what? They're 5th in the Eastern Division. By the way, Memphis now 9-5, also 5th. So without Bain and without Ja, you got Roddy for 27 minutes, Laravia for 25 minutes. Adams, as always, double-double. Brooks had 19, but you're missing too much, and you're relying on rookies like that, all those minutes for the rookies. So you're going to lose at Washington, and that's exactly what occurred. So now 9-5. Here's the big thing. because, Adams did his part, and I'm not blaming LaRavia or Roddy because they had to play those minutes with the Stars going. But Memphis's defense, again, they gave up 19 threes in that game. They only had 9. Now, Vane and Jar there, they're going to have more than 9. They only had 9 threes. They gave up 19. That's a difference of 30 points from downtown. You're not going to win games with that kind of differential.
Certainly not. And like you said, first of all, what you said about the Wizards is absolutely true. The Wizards are playing really good basketball. I love this roster. They've got experienced guys. This kid, Jordan Goodwin, off the bench. I don't know where he came from. I don't even know where he went to school, but he's been playing really good basketball as well. You're right about playing those guys in terms of defense, too. It's just not going to cut it. Honestly, they've been a big issue even in games where Ja and Desmond Bane do play. So you add, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to their play time. Certainly that's going to be a defensive lapse, and I think it's part of the reason why they lost by 10.
New college football poll is out, and really not many changes at the top. Georgia number 1. And, it was interesting for about 30 minutes in Starkville. Then reality hit. Ohio State is number 2. Michigan's number 3. They easily won their games. TCU. Are we ever going to give them real credit? You don't. You picked Texas in that game, didn't you?
No, I had TCU.
Oh, you had TCU?
Oh, no, 7 points on the road. I'm with you. They deserve credit. They're winning all these games. Sonny Dykes is a good football coach. This is not just some fluke undefeated team. People don't even give the Big 12 enough credit, Dave. I think the Big 12 is a really deep league. They got a lot of good teams in there, all the way down to even some teams with a losing record.
So they deserve where they are. And if they win out, then they should be in the playoff, and they're poised to do that. Standing by, waiting for a loss, and Michigan or Ohio State are going to have a loss, let's be honest. Just sitting there waiting is Tennessee. So, the way I look at this is Tennessee was really, really mad at Georgia, so they took it out on Missouri. 66 points. Man, I think they had 50 last year against Missouri. Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure 66-24. I mean, they massacre them again. Then there's Southern Cal sitting there and waiting, and there's an outside shot with LSU at 8-2. But LSU, with their barely winning over Arkansas, 13-10, not covering for me. Boy, I've lost so many by hooks this year. It's amazing. But their win and Alabama beating Ole Miss means we got our championship game pretty well set. LSU is in. Now it's up to Georgia to win out. I can't imagine that they won't.
How competitive a game do you think that'll be?
I'm not going to count out LSU anymore. They've gotten better and better and better as the year has gone on.
But they got drugged by Tennessee at home, though, and that Georgia. I mean, I'm not going to say they beat Tennessee by a lot, but they beat them pretty handily. We knew for a good quarter or two that Tennessee wasn't going to win that football game. But it's a whole different animal. Throw the records on the SEC championship, though, I suppose.
I mean, let's face it. Can you look futures up? Can you look up that championship game? I'm going to say Georgia's going to be a 10-point favorite. That would be my bet.
Las Vegas releases a prediction. It looks like the Tigers would open up, per Brett McMurphy, as 15-point underdogs.
15. Wow. I had it at 10. So what does that tell you? Take LSU in the 15? I don't know. But that is where they are. Here's some interesting things I thought about that poll. One, the American has 3 teams in the poll. I don't know if you saw that. That's got to be the most ever for the American Athletic Conference in a college football poll. They have Central Florida, which absolutely dominated Tulane. I know that ended up being, 38-31? That wasn't that close. Central Florida controlled the game the whole way. They're now 8-2. Just goes to show you. Memphis could have beat that team. I told you, Memphis could beat any team in the American if they can just play 4 quarters and not shoot themselves in the foot and continue to improve on defense like they did against Tulsa. Cincinnati's 21 and Tulane is 22, so 3 in the top 22. That's got to be unheard of.
Certainly. The American, I like what you said, kind of like any given Sunday in the American Conference. Anyone can beat anybody.
Well, championship game at this point would be Cincinnati and UCF.
Who do you like in that one?
Wow. Well, the sad part about that is they're both leaving. I want them both to lose. I don't know. I guess the home team would be the team that I would be rooting for. And, I'm not really sure how that breaks down.
When they played on October 29th, UCF was favored by 1. And they were at home. So, like you said, kind of depends on the home team as to who's going to be favored. Seems like pretty much like a toss-up.
So UCF and Cincinnati have already played?
That's what it looks like on October 29th.
Go look that what was that score?
UCF won 25-21, so they cover the spread.
So all three teams are 5-1. UCF has beaten Tulane, and you say they've beaten Cincinnati?
They have.
Who did Cincinnati lose to then?
They lost to UCF and
they've only lost they've lost to Arkansas.
Arkansas. Those are the two games.
And to UCF. Okay. I'm going to have to double check here to see who was UCF because at this point with three teams in there.
UCF lost that bad game early to Louisville. That was a weeknight game.
But who did they lose in conference?
East Carolina at East Carolina.
Oh, that's right.
They got beat up pretty good.
They turned the ball over big time in that game. I think they had
UCF is so susceptible. If UCF gets down because they don't throw the ball further than 3 yards down the field, they just have a hard time making up ground. Happening against Louisville and happening against East Carolina with turnovers, like you said.
The game with Tulane, all he did was run.
Yeah, that's right.
Rice Plumlee, all he did was run the football. So
176
yards
on the ground.
Because it's three ways, I don't know who's in there. It's still to be determined who will play in that championship game between those three schools. So we'll have to wait and see on all of that. NFL was crazy. I know we got some medals, but has there ever been a crazier game than the Buffalo-Minnesota game?
It's wild. Unbelievable.
Have you ever seen –
Game of the week.
Have you ever seen – some people said game of the year. I just can't believe that Buffalo could lose a game like that when all they had to do was hold on to a quarterback sneak. I heard Eli talking about how they should have played that with him running around and then throwing the ball as far as he could. And, there's merit to that in hindsight 2020. But it's Josh Allen, for God's sakes. He's like a dang linebacker. He's supposed to be able to hold the ball, go forward for 3 yards.
That's what they say, though, is that it's hard for the bigger guys to do the quarterback sneak. That's why Jacoby Brissett is so good at it. He's a smaller guy. He can sneak through those holes. Maybe there's some merit to that. I don't know.
I just can't. He's really started to choke stuff away. I hate to say it. He at the worst time, he throws red zone touchdowns or interceptions, or he throws an interception to end the game when they're within striking distance. I mean, there are so many ways they could have ended up winning that game. And then it took a miracle, too. That catch by Justin Jefferson was amazing. Everybody's equating that to the OBJ catch, the Giants with the one hand to the helmet. This one might have been even crazier because he had to rip it away from a defensive back who's got two hands on the ball.
No, it was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
It's just incredible. Just incredible.
And I heard Carson Palmer say this, too, with the injury. Josh Allen had the UCL, I think is the ligament that was hurt. Just random times, you can battle through the pain, but just random times, a ball just won't have zip on it. That could have contributed to the 2 interceptions yesterday.
Let's say that for Josh Allen.
Yeah, for his sake. That's right.
But how are we going to blame the dang fumble?
We can't. He's too big.
He also had a knee injury. He's too big. There you go. Crazy stuff for sure. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Still got a week or two. The basic relax at home. So it's saying stay home, enjoy, get a pool table or a shuffleboard or air hockey game for your home. When all the relatives and the friends come over for Thanksgiving, you're there. They've got massage chairs and they got those new home theater seating sets that are really terrific. Get there while you can, while this hot relax at home sale is on. That's I-40 and Wooden Road. That is Family Leisure. Weekend's over. You got to stock up. Go see Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop. That is right at the corner of Poplar and St. Nick. That's 4848 Poplar Avenue. You'll love this place. They got all the latest, all the greatest. They got the local beers. They got bourbons that are rare, bourbons that are up and coming, bourbons that are an absolute bargain. Same thing with vodkas and tequilas. You want accessories like a rub for a rimming glass? Come on, they got that. They got it all. Spirit Shop. Poplar and St. Nick, you get an education, too, when you walk in there. That little log cabin down from Clark Tower in the heart of East Memphis. It is time for a thing that we love to do. It is called Precious Metals. I got to give a bronze to Jeff Saturday. I know the Colts beat the woesome Vegas Raiders, but here he is making his debut as their interim coach from the broadcast booth to the sideline, and they win the game? That's pretty impressive.
Made Derek Carr cry.
I saw that. Man, that's the ultimate frustration of being a Raider right now. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Got to give a bronze medal to the U.S. women's national team, the soccer team. You know, they were in dangerous territory. They had never lost 4 games in a row. This team that has been the number 1 team in the world for all these years has hit some hard times. There's a lot of new young players that a new coach is feeding in, new system a bit. They've struggled. They had just lost to Germany a couple of days before. They fall behind 1-0. It's like the sky is falling. They're going to lose again. It's going to be the first time in history with 4. They rally with 2 goals in the second half. They got a new little forward up front who's outstanding. They win 2-1, so they get back on the right foot, let's say. I got to give a silver medal to the crowd in Germany for the Tampa-Seattle game. That was amazing. I talked with TJ Reeves. TJ told me there were 77,000 people at this game. There was several thousand 4 hours before the game that was around the stadium. When they opened up the gates an hour and a half before the game, 80% of the place was packed. And then at the end, all 77,000 people were singing Country Roads, the John Denver song.
Like a West Virginia game.
Well, you know what it is? I didn't know this. That's what they sing at Oktoberfest when they're drinking. So they were drinking at this one, too. But, hey, there's hope for Germany and the NFL, right? I mean, they're going to be there for the next 4 years, I think Roger Goodell said. That was amazing. I got to give the University of Memphis women's soccer team a silver medal. They won in St. Louis against the number 2 seed and the 10th ranked team in the country. The St. Louis women Billikens at home had won like 15 in a row. The Tigers that were assigned there, they were 15 against the 2. What happens? Memphis with a 1-0 shutout. So now they will play the 7 seed, which happens to be Mississippi State in Starkville. This is the 2nd year in a row the Tigers have won an NCAA game. It's the 5th time in a row they've gone to the tournament. Brooks Monaghan, you got to consider him one of the great coaches. To do what he has done, amazing. I will give Joel Embiid a gold medal. 59 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 blocks. He had 5 blocks in 1 quarter. He had 20 points and 5 blocks in 1 quarter. That's like only 3 or 4 other people in the history of the NBA have ever done that. Only 3 or 4 people in the history of the NBA have ever scored 100 total points 2 nights in a row. And he did. He had 42 the night before. And you think about that. So he gets 59 in all those against a Utah team that has been shocking everybody. Then he beats a good Atlanta team by getting 42. Wow, 101 points in 2 nights. That's incredible. And Philly got 2 wins that they had to have. And then the other gold goes to the guy that made that incredible catch that really won the game over Buffalo from Minnesota. He got it on a 4th and 18, but he had 10 receptions, 193 yards, and a touchdown in that win at Buffalo. One of the best individual receiving performances you're going to see. And so Justin Jefferson gets a gold for me.
Vikings are on a tear. It's unbelievable. My bronze medal, I also gave one to Jeff Saturday and the Colts, so I'll go another route that Packers and Aaron Rodgers get back on the right track, beating the Cowboys.
So does Brady in the Bucs.
And that's my other one is Brady in the Bucs, even though they gave the ball to Leonard Fournette one to throw a pass, and he threw a pick. That was a weird decision. But nonetheless, two teams needed wins, got them. My silver medal goes to Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins, winning 39-17 over the Browns. Tua was going into this week fourth in MVP voting. He's my MVP right now. He's 7-0 in games he started and finished. He had 285 yards yesterday. He's thrown for 250 yards in all but one game this season. The one he didn't was against the strong Buffalo Bills. He had 186 in that one, and they still won the game. And my gold medal goes to Embiid with 59 points, like you said. I'm not going to hound on that, but James Harden is out. The Sixers are way better without him. They're giving the ball to Embiid more. Tyrese Maxey's the point guard. Why Daryl Morey insists on building the Houston Rockets in Philadelphia, I'll never know. This team is better without him in the lineup.
And look what's happened to the Houston Rockets, though, since he left. It's totally decimated.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. All right. To Russ, the first, Josh Allen. 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter and overtime. In the fourth quarter and overtime, which is crunch time, the man turned the ball over 3 times. I mean, I love him. You know I do. He and Mahomes, I still think are the top 2 quarterbacks, but he's suddenly had a penchant for, in times where you can really capitalize, he's turned the ball over a bunch. And I got to give the decision by McCarthy, the Dallas quarterback, going back to Green Bay for the first time since he'd been the coach there. He made a decision. The ball's at the 35-yard line.
That's right.
So it ends up being like 52 or 53-yard kick, and it was into the wind, as he discussed in the postgame. It's overtime. I'm going to put the pressure on the other team. I'm going to put the pressure on Green Bay. He opted
4
to
yards
go the other way.
4 yards to go, right?
Yeah. And they don't get it. And, of course, the rest is history. I would have put pressure on the other team. I think that's a bad decision. So many coaches, I see them, I don't know if it's the analytics of less than 3 yards or whatever it may be. So many either go for it in very bad places. Oregon did that this week. They gave away the game in Washington. They either go for it or they just turn away points. They like field goals don't matter. And to me, they messed themselves up. And I thought that decision, I know it was iffy. That's kind of 50-50. It's easy to do it in hindsight. But I was saying, you got a strong kicker. I would put the pressure on the Packers, and I thought that was a mistake.
I don't blame you. And scoring is down 3.5 points in the NFL per game this year. So that kind of is right in line with what you're saying, not kicking field goals. My rust goes to the rare team that actually won the game. The Lions won yesterday, but this stat is rust-worthy. The Lions won yesterday for the first time trailing by 14 points in the fourth quarter since 1993. Almost 30 years have passed since the last time the Lions covered a 14-point deficit.
And it's against the monsters of the Midway. but the Bears really, I think they waved the white flag at trade deadline when they gave away Roquan Smith and they gave away Robert Quinn. They're building to do something for Justin Fields, I think. So, hopefully it works, but I really don't think if Quinn and Smith are there, they're going to get those 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Lions offense is good, though, but it's not that good.
No. And those are your rusts. This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at AmeriCare. We got 3 AmeriCare homes. That's what I'm going to say, because it feels like home. They are for your elderly. They are for assisted living and memory care living. There's 3 of them in Memphis, South Breeze in Memphis. There's Schilling Gardens in Collierville. There's Olive Grove Terrace in Olive Branch. These are 3 places that all have the philosophy of what AmeriCare is all about for our aging. It's not just what you eat, how you exercise. It's where you live. Small, intimate communities, easy to make friends, good times at meal times. There's all kinds of fun activities, programs that are designed just for you. The staff gets to really know everything about you. It feels like home. It's wellness. That is what they believe at AmeriCare. And again, in Memphis, South Breeze, that's on Hacks Cross Road. In Collierville, Schilling Gardens, and Olive Branch has Olive Grove Terrace. We take the quick break. When we come back, we will head to Atlanta. Our coach, John Thompson, on the SEC and college football. He comes your way in a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $2,000 and interest rates low as 0%. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way of doing business. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Next to Sunrise Wolf Chase.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, NFC East action when the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles play host to the Washington Commanders. Can Jalen Hurts and the Eagles keep their undefeated record on track? Join Ross Tucker and me to find out on air and on the free live stream. Sponsored by AutoZone. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Wow, have you ever heard a faster talker than that guy when he's giving all those numbers? That is crazy. You think they speeded up the tape on that, or can that guy talk that fast?
That's skill.
That is big-time skill. That's almost as good as my man Sheldon Rosengarten. You know, he's with Mark Spensdorf. Sheldon, you know, the market, real estate is just changing all the time. Inventory's increasing. Interest rates fluctuating. Buyers today are still picky, and selling a home is very challenging. Don't think you can't take advantage of that situation, though, because my man Sheldon keeps up with it all, and he's got this incredible strategic marketing plan that changes with the market. There's no better hands that you can be in. Now, Sheldon himself will tell you, talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure he's one of them. Call 483-0546 or go to memphisrelocate.com. 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. He's keeping up with it for you. Cash in with Sheldon. And our title sponsor, well, that's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where you can buy a car. You can buy a Hyundai Santa Fe or a Tucson, any new Hyundai, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78. You buy a new car and don't pay for 3 months. You have 90 days on this deferred payment financial program that Hyundai is putting out. It's incredible, and you'll only find it at Homer Skelton Hyundai. News is now starting to come out with specifics on this tragedy at Virginia today in Charlottesville at the University of Virginia. Apparently, former UVA football player Chris Jones opened fire. He has killed 3 current players, a wide receiver, Lavelle Davis, a linebacker named Deshaun Perry, and then the other young man that was from the Memphis area, went to Arlington High School. His name is Devin Chandler. He was a wide receiver as well. Wow. Sad, heartbreaking stuff. All part of college football in our crazy world that we live in now. Speaking of college football, let's go to Atlanta. Our coach, that is John Thompson, and that's tragic news today. I don't know,
my
how
goodness,
you get away around
I
that.
just heard it. That wow, man, what a heartbreaker that is.
Yeah.
That is that's very stunning and very sad. And the college football, whether it's, nothing can be worse than that, but it touches and reaches so many people. The team and the coaches and all the families that are involved in that, and the fans and just everything. It brings you back, even when coaches get fired, that it affects so many people, and I don't think the general public really comprehends that sometime, but obviously, and I don't mean to compare firing to something like this that just happened, but yeah, I'm in shock right now. I just heard that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have let you know, but it is just breaking this morning, and there was no specifics given.
What a sad thing.
And now the president of the University of Virginia has come out, and he has confirmed all of this. All right, in the meantime, let's get back to the games, and I know it's hard, but Alabama and Ole Miss in Oxford, what a crowd, what an atmosphere, and Alabama just does what they do. They basically wear you down. I thought that was the difference in the game. They come back, and they just punish you.
Well, yeah, Bryce Young was so cool in the game. He was. If you want to, let's start out with giving credit.
Okay.
Alabama shut down Ole Miss's run in the second half, and it just looked like Alabama was there and for a big game. And I'm telling you, Bryce Young dissected them. He was so relaxed and so calm in the pocket, and he just picked them apart. On the other side of the coin, the last drive, it was obviously horrible. That last series, and especially the series when they got down in the high red zone, and it looked like that Ole Miss had just turned desperate there at the end. They got the ball down there. I know that Kiffin said that the running back was tired, but you got to mix in a little run down there somehow. But Alabama had shut down that running game, but when it got down to crunch time at the very end of the game, it looked like Alabama was ready for the moment, and it looked like Ole Miss was not ready for the moment.
I think that's fair. So that's 2 in a row now that Ole Miss has dropped, and they got Arkansas a little bit later. Before we get into that, LSU barely beat Arkansas, but that wins them the West. We looked this up a little while ago. The SEC championship game, which most likely will be Georgia against what we know now is LSU. They're in it.
Yep.
The Bulldogs of Georgia are 15-point favorites on the early line.
We said it earlier, in the season here, and I think it's really clear. The new Alabama is Georgia. And I know I live over here and I hear a lot more about them, but you just watch them. They win every way possible. They're physical, they're fast, they're smart, they're really good on defense. They're really those tight ends. They got mismatches everywhere. It's going to be that's going to be it. It's going to be LSU versus Georgia. But Brian Kelly, you got to give him a whole lot of credit.
Yeah.
He has changed the culture at LSU. I mean, they won on defense in this game. I mean, they played very, very well. But they, a couple of weeks ago against Alabama, they won on offense. Daniels did not have a good game against Arkansas. Barry Odom did very, very well as the defensive coordinator at Arkansas. He held them. Arkansas was held to under 250 yards, but Barry Odom did a great job holding LSU down. But you take a guy, the difference in the game was the cat named Harold Perkins.
Yep.
He took over he reminded me of Derek Thomas. I mean, and that's as high praise as I can give a football player. 4 sacks, caused a couple of fumbles. Game-winning play. He was all over the field, and so now he puts Arkansas in really a problem just getting to a bowl game after being in the top 10 earlier in the season.
Well, that makes the Ole Miss Arkansas game incredibly important, and like you say, Arkansas wants to make postseason. Ole Miss doesn't want to lose 3 in a row after starting off 8-0.
Yeah, Arkansas's got to get KJ Jefferson back because it's sad, and I hate to, but they just had no quarterback play. I mean, when they've got their third team guy in there, and they scored 1 touchdown, and there was they can't do it. You can't do it in the SEC without a quarterback or out anywhere, whether you're here in high school or whatever, but. They're just with KJ Jefferson back, maybe Arkansas sticks it in a couple of times in the red zone down there instead of having to kick field goals. But KJ will make a big difference in the game against Ole Miss, and I'm sure, and because and you listen to you listen to Arkansas's head coach late last week. I mean, there was still a question if Jefferson was going to play even up until Thursday. So they took precautions. He didn't play, so he'll be ready. I'm sure he'll be ready to go this week, and he just causes all kinds of problems in the running game and the throwing game. It'll be different against against Ole Miss.
So if let's just say Jefferson's playing, who wins the game?
You know what? I still think Arkansas is a really good team. They played very well on defense the other day. They didn't play well on offense, and because of quarterback play. They've got a running back that can do it. It just depends on how Ole Miss can come back from this. That's 2 tough losses in a row, and the way they lost both of those games late in the year, it just depends on how they can. The game is in Arkansas.
Yeah, it's in Fayetteville.
And it'll be packed again. Hey, Arkansas is back. I mean, in terms of I think they're 5-5 right now. They're not winning like people thought they would be, but Arkansas is still a very, very good football team. I got to go with the Hogs in this one, and think it's just going to be. I think they'll come and get them, and I think Arkansas wins it.
I think I take the other side of that, but I'll hold judgment until we make our picks on Friday.
Off air, we'll set the way.
You got it. Now, Tennessee was so upset with Georgia that they took it out on Missouri. 66 points. Whoa. I think they had 50 against them last year, too.
Well, that's
how many,
J-Mo? 62.
62 last year?
That's right.
So 62 and 66? 128 points in 2 games.
Getting after
They
them.
like playing those Tigers.
That's not good for Missouri's defensive coordinator who got a new contract in the middle of the week last week.
Wow, it's a good thing they gave it to him then.
Bumped him way up, and Missouri's been very, very good on defense. And I mean, there's was Tennessee running their offense? Yeah. Were they getting style points? Yeah. Were they probably mad at Drink for saying what he did in the summer? Yeah. But I like what Drinkowitz said after the game, like, hey, Heupel's got to coach his team. I got to coach mine. I totally agree and understand that.
Wait. Remind us, since you brought it up, of what Drink said that got Heupel so
It was
PO'd.
something about, I don't know exactly, but it was like he could get a couple of games back if they were forfeited because of Jeremy Pruitt, the problems that Jeremy Pruitt got into. And he made that comment in, I think, at the SEC Media Days, people don't forget that stuff. And that's, and hey, look, and I'm a defensive guy. Anybody that knows me, I'm a defensive guy. But if they're going to throw the ball, you got to defend it. You got to do it. And there are so many things that go on between coaches late in games. If they're throwing the ball, you're blitzing. If you stop blitzing, they stop throwing it, or whoever does it first. Or you take your quarterback in, your first team quarterback out, you put your second team defense in. I don't know how all that happened. There's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on between coaches. Like, what are you doing? Okay, you got the game won. Okay, you got your second team quarterback in there. Throw the ball, but don't throw it 60 yards down the field. Because we got backups in trying to get them reps. All right, is that right or wrong? That's each guy's got to make his own decision about that. As a defensive coach, you got to defend it. That's the way I look at it. I don't like it. But that's the way it goes. I mean, you got to stop.
Real quick, Auburn beats A&M. The buyout for Jimbo's $86 million. They were nuts to extend his contract.
Hey, oil drop. It's a drop in the bucket for those oil men down there. But it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare in College Station. They've lost 6 in a row. It looks like to me they got locker room problems, and that you can say some things that happened actually in the locker room a couple of weeks ago. The rumors that got out about, let me just say, where there's smoke, there might have been fire.
Yeah.
In that situation, and then when they benched the wide receiver this week, he didn't play, and allegedly they're saying because of the sleeves that he was wearing, and he comes out and says that when you lose, all of those things come out. When you win, all of those things are taken care of, but losing like that, then everything comes to the top, and all of those things are exposed, and it's really tough.
And last thing, really quick, Kentucky losing to Vanderbilt. That's the first win for Vandy in 26 conference games. How about that?
My man Clark Lee's going to get it done. He's going, and when you say get it done at Vanderbilt, that's the difference in saying you're going to get it done in Tennessee. But on the run and doing it, and they took the ball 80 yards. I was watching it. I was pulling for them. And their defense made Kentucky kick field goals early in the game. That was a great win. And a real quick deal, a great loss for our man Freeze up there.
Oh, my gosh.
You come off an SEC game. The SEC is brutal. You get beat up. Then you go to, people don't remember, that's a Jim Mora coach team at UConn, very well coached. Come back. I'm not saying that
got them bowl eligible. I think that's.
I think it did.
That program was so bad when Jim Mora took it over. It's amazing that he was able to do that.
You play an SEC team, whether you're an SEC team or whether you're a non-SEC team, you're beat up the next week. So that is.
So that's your excuse for your buddy Freeze. He was beat up because he beat Arkansas.
You got to get them right. Got to practice. Got to get them ready. I'm just saying Mora beat them, but that's the same thing with LSU and Arkansas and Ole Miss and Alabama. They got to play SEC teams. is just the physicality. And you've been down on the field. You get down on the field and you see the
brutal.
way these guys
It's
are running
brutal.
and going out. It's
brutal.
Wow.
No question. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you next
You
week.
too. Take
That
care.
is our coach down in Atlanta. That is John Thompson. He's brought to you by the good folks at Poppy's Pills. That's the Grind City Pilsner that we love. Light, crisp, refreshing, even in the cold weather. Who cares? It's so darn good and refreshing. You can get it in 6-packs or 15-packs all over town, and it's made right here in Memphis. Of course, that beautiful facility downtown that is called Grind City Brewing. So if you're looking to get refreshed, this is it. You want a new beer? I'm telling you, you're going to love Poppy's Pills. That's what the doctor ordered, the Pilsner from Grind City. We'll pause for a second. When we come back, the Tigers beat writer for basketball with the commercial appeal, the one and only Jason Munz, and he's got a lot of recruiting stuff. He comes your way in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
I got to tell you, man, I was worried.
Worried about what?
Since I'm the Central Barbecue spokesperson.
We're really the spokespeople.
As a Central Barbecue spokesperson, I was letting people down because the Central Barbecue location on Central is closed for renovation. There are only 3 locations for people to get Central Barbecue.
I think people can get by with 3 locations.
No one cares what you think. Like I said, I was worried, but the people at Central Barbecue have solved the problem.
That didn't exist.
They've parked the Central Barbecue food truck at the Central Barbecue Central Avenue location. Everything is right with the world.
Everything was already fine.
I'll be the one that makes that decision.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Just got the word from Memphis Public Golf Courses. They're going to be closed November 24th for Thanksgiving. Just so you know, you can't go exercise after that big meal. Thank you, Mickey. But, oh, my goodness, it reminds me we're here. We are in the heart of hoops. The Tigers are going to take off for St. Louis a little bit later this afternoon. And I know Jason Munz will be in St. Louis with me to see what they can do with the Billikens. But it seems like, forget the games at the moment, it's all about the recruiting news. So the Tigers last week had Carl Scherenfant and Ryan Forrest sign, 4-star and a 3-star guy. They're still waiting for Mikey Williams and J.J. Taylor and David Tubeck to sign. And now they got another guy, which would be a 6th, Tyler Johnson, if that's how you – is it Tyler or Tylor? Only for sure my man Jason Munz knows, the beat writer for the Tigers at the Commercial Appeal. Jason, how are you? How do I pronounce that name?
I would go with Tylor.
Okay.
That's the way it's been. That's the way it's been communicated to me.
Okay, that's beautiful. Tell me about him, and what's the story with Williams and Taylor? How come they have not signed yet?
So we'll start with Tylor. He's like a 6'6'1" traditional point guard. He's kind of like he's not big. He may be a little slightly bigger than Kendrick Davis, but he's every bit the aggressive sort of bulldog type scorer. He's got that attack mentality when it comes to offense, as Kendrick Davis does. And he's a 4-star guy. I think he's rated 66th in the country, something like that. And he's certainly a guy that you want to have on your team, especially when you've got the caliber of athletes that, as we sit here today, are going to be surrounded. He's going to be surrounded by. He committed on Saturday. And to your question about Mikey and JJ, I've had a number of conversations with people who are close to him, as well as people on the other side of it, as far as when they're going to sign. And the way their camp has explained it to me is, they're not looking for, in much the same way they committed. It's going to be just sort of a low key deal. There's not going to be a huge ceremony or a huge, all this hoopla or anything around it. It's just going to be they're going to sign. And I was told by people on their side that it was going to be as soon as possible. That was last week, and to my knowledge, it hasn't happened yet. I spoke to someone last night, later last night, who said that they expect it to get done by the end of the early signing period, which is Wednesday. So, I would expect, that to become official sometime in the next couple of days.
Well, that would be good if the Tigers beat St. Louis on Tuesday and then get those guys on Wednesday. If they indeed get all of those guys, they would be the number 5 recruiting class in the country. That would be 6 different commitments, right, with Tylor.
Yep.
And then there's Ashton Hardaway.
Right.
Is he signing early? Is he signing with his dad?
I've talked to several people about Ashton, and it would be a very, very, very big surprise if he did not commit to Memphis. Now, it's recruiting; anything can happen. But he was on a visit over the weekend, and I spoke to someone on Saturday who told me they thought that it would happen by today, as far as an announcement, I'm committing to Memphis. But and that could still happen. But at last check, last night, I was told it was kind of in the same boat as Mikey and JJ, that it could happen today, but it could also happen Tuesday or Wednesday.
If that's the case, that's 7 guys. That is a departure from I'm going to be more heavily involved with the transfer portal.
It is. Now, there's always, there's the caveat that just because they commit and sign doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get to campus. I don't know if that's, what's going to happen here. If there's, I think that's always a possibility, though, that maybe 1 or 2 either ask out of their letter of intent or are encouraged to seek other opportunities when the time comes. But it's very, very clear that Penny Hardaway has he was so dead set against this sort of thing, this past summer when he was really minding the transfer portal. But now he's I don't know if I would say he's reversed course, but he's certainly at least not completely steering clear of this approach this time around. And we'll hopefully we'll be able to talk to him about it sooner rather than later and ask him what his thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, and then technically, I guess legally, he could take away scholarships and pay for himself his 2 sons, right? Ashton and Jaden, if Jaden comes back next year. All right, real quick, big game in St. Louis. The Tigers are actually underdogs in the game. What are you expecting?
Oh, I think it's going to be one of the I think it's got the chance to be one of the better games one of the better teams that Memphis is going to see. I mean, St. Louis is a really, really experienced, very good basketball team. Yuri Collins has 27 assists to just 5 turnovers through 2 games. He's a point guard. He led the nation in assists last season. Javonte Perkins is a high-level scorer. Gibson Jimerson is another guy who can really, really score it.
That he's their leading scorer.
Yeah. He had like 5 or 6 threes the other night against Evansville. So he's good. They don't have a ton of scoring punch outside of those 3 guys, and even Yuri Collins hasn't really scored it a ton so far this season. They've rebounded well, but they've played Murray State and Evansville. I think that this is going to be a really, really, really good game. Very, very good game. And I think Memphis has a plan. I get the sense in talking to people, like I get the same sense going into this game, talking to people on the Memphis side, that they feel about this game the way they did before the Alabama game last season, where it was just like this quiet confidence, like, yeah, it's going to be tough, but we're going to be all right, sort of thing. So, yeah, we'll see if they got anything up their sleeve.
And if they were banged up, like Alo or Kendrick or Malcolm, even DeAndre's back, they've had over a week to get healed, so it should be good. As always, my friend, I appreciate it. We'll see you in St. Louis.
Okay, cool.
Used to be a song, Meet Me in St. Louis. Meet me, Munzie, meet me. See you
I
tomorrow.
will see you.
You got it. That is our man, Jason Munz. He's brought to you by the good folks at Conway, who want me to remind you, new government regulations are driving HVAC prices up and up, part of inflation. So my friends at Conway, they want to help you beat that price increase by replacing your old inefficient system with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system before the prices go up, and they're going to throw in a free Nest thermostat. But here's the best part. They're going to give you a free furnace. You buy the HVAC cooling system, they give you the heater and the Nest thermostat. All is part of the deal. All you got to do is call 384-3511, 384-3511. Jeff Moore and Mike DeCourcy will be with us tomorrow. I'll come to you from the Four Seasons in St. Louis, Missouri. Johnny Harden. We're Johnny Radio, right?
That's right.
This is what happens when you get old, J-Mo. Johnny's next. Stick around.
I often say they've